today and a very helpful session yesterday. Very scenic view. This is Cambridge. Welcome at any time. We came out of university a few years ago, so I'm just going through the story here. Probably one of the best AI teams in Cambridge, actually, and that's where the technology came from, so we spun out from that. Mike's in the audience too. Mike has a lot of experience selling solutions into the larger banks, so he can tell you a bit more about it. He was director of several risk companies. What we do is financial risk forecasting. So we've heard a lot about risk today and everything else. We forecast it. We literally tell you a day before, 2 days before, something's about to happen. We don't advise, we just tell you something. It could be good or bad. We're not making any judgment or political, but that's what we do, risk forecasting, market risk. So how is this different? How is this better? So a lot going on in the portfolio side. I'm not going to say traditionally, but most of the time it's been backward looking. So that's on the left-hand slide. Historical events, historical data, what happened last time, I can tell you now for sure, I hate this term, but we are living in interesting times. We haven't seen many Brexits before. We haven't seen many Donald Trumps before. We haven't seen negative interest rates before. So this idea of, we'll look at the past, try and infer the future is great, but we don't really believe in that anymore. A lot of new companies in the space looking at the news analytics, Twitter. So, can we gather sentiment, which is very interesting too. Our space is what we call primary insights. We look at what people are actually doing. Crowd dynamics, crowd analytics. What are they actually doing as opposed to what they say they're doing? I'm not going to bring up the fake news here, but what are they actually doing? So next slide is the technology. This looks very complicated. I'll have a very high-low overview. This is data from the exchanges. We connect directly to all the major exchanges. We data mine the limit order book. What are people doing on the exchanges? This is not analysts. This is not opinions. This is not models. This is people on the exchanges going around. So market participants, algos, traders, et cetera, on the exchanges. This looks random. The next slide, you can probably see it there. There is some clustering going on. In other words, with our algos, with our AI, we've picked up panic. Panic develops over time. Panic is when everybody starts behaving in the same way. So this is panic, and our platform will give you insights. We're looking at big upward or downward moves. As I said, typically a day or before. One of the examples, once again, sort of not making any political judgment, about a day or before, our US clients absolutely love it, actually. So a few days before the results, once again, what we were flagging is big downside market risk, not making any judgments about that. So same for Brexit, same for recent French elections on the upside. So it is directional market risk. It is across global markets, so every single equity market out there. We just need access to the exchange, and we've plugged most of the exchanges in already. So, and it is directional, so it's not just, oh my God, panic. It's literally, what are we going to see in the next 24, 48 hours? Okay. This is our US fund partners. So this is just, how do you improve risk-adjusted returns? The black line is the benchmark, S&P 500. So this is what a normal portfolio might look like, might track. The blue one is what happens when you start using our analytics. So massive outperformance. 3 to 5% typically outperformance per year. I'll repeat that, up to 5% outperformance per year on an equity fund. So very good risk-adjusted returns too. So very low time. And then nothing fancy, no derivatives, anything else, just a very simple strategy based on analytics. It's been live for a few years now, so that's one very good example of our product. The actual product is remarkably simple. Dashboard, obviously, API, Excel add-in, email. The key takeaway from this is two things. We do not require your data, and that's been a very big sticking point. We don't need anything. We just need your email address. That's all we need. Thank you very much. We can have it tomorrow morning. We do everything on the back end, sourcing the data, processing, analyzing, displaying the results. So very agnostic. As I said, we just need to know, email address, what coverage do you need? White labeling solutions available too. And I had some good discussions with your colleagues yesterday already. This would be a nice add-on to the UBS Neo platform. Not suggesting anything, but that's probably a very good application of where to go on that one. So where we are live, I think as of this morning, probably a tier one bank. We've had some of the largest hedge funds reach out to us in the past 2 weeks, actually, desperate for more information, more meetings. The obvious use case, obviously, internally. The big ask today is global distribution. We're a small company. It's a lovely product. We're getting the traction. We're getting deployment. Would be nice to work with somebody who has a very established client base out there. It would make UBS look absolutely amazing, especially for your high net worth client including the hedge funds, basically. That's the two asks. And I'm going to stop here because time's up, so I'll happily take some questions. Thank you very much for listening.
So you mentioned you pull in data from the exchanges. Is that your data source, or are there additional data sources you use as well?
Entirely exchange-based, so the limit order book, order depth, order activity, everything going on the exchanges, that's where we get all the data from. So primary insights of what people are actually doing, people, algos, machines, banks. So that's the source there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very, very differentiating way of doing it, because it's back to the point again, what are they actually doing, as opposed to what they say they're doing. So we see some interesting patterns there. So. Everybody's quiet. Okay.
Do you trade off your own signals?
The US fund does, yeah, right. They do actually. So that's real money, that's been all validated, everything else. Lovely case study in Frankfurt. We've just resold them another product. There the use case was just on the hedging side. So they've got a large portfolio, 3 billion live. How do we hedge against major downsides? So, you can construct a lovely portfolio, diversified